Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about how can we use the slope intercept form to write the equation when we're given a graph. So let's go ahead and look at some graphs. And what we want to do is we want to be able to look at this line and see, can we write the equation that represents this line? And we can if we use the slope intercept form. So what we're going to do first is we got to remember that m is what represents our slope, and a lot of times it's rise over run. So m equals rise over run, where rise is how much did our graph change in the y distance, and our run is how much did it change in the horizontal x distance. Okay, so usually what I do is I just go to the graph and I try to pick 2 points that are on the line. So here on this line, for example, I can pick the points 0, 1 and 3, 0. I'm just choosing these 2 points because they line up pretty nicely with my graph grid. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and count the spaces. How much did it move upwards or downwards? I'm going to try to find my rise. What was the distance that it moved in vertical distance? So from one point to the other, I would go down 1. If I go up, I would use a positive value. If I'm going downwards, I would use a negative value. So in this case, I'm going to call this -1. For my run, I do sort of the same thing, but now I'm counting the horizontal distance. 1, 2, 3. It went 3 spaces to the right. Now for horizontal distance, if it moves to the right, we keep it positive. If it moves to the left, that's when I change it to a negative value. So then I would just plug those values in to my rise over run equation, where here my rise was -1 and my run was 3. And that would be my slope. I could rewrite it simplified as -1/3. And now I have my slope. The only piece I'm missing now is the piece that's a little bit easier to find, because you just have to know what it means. B represents my y-intercept, which is the point of which my line crosses the y-axis. I actually already found that point. It's one of the points I chose when I was counting for my slope. The line crosses the y-axis here at 0, 1. So my y-intercept, B, is the point at which it crosses the y-axis, which in this case, it would just be 1. We just choose that value of where it crossed the y-axis at 1. So now I plug in and substitute these into the form. I get y equals, my slope was -1/3 x plus my intercept, which is 1. And this would be the equation to the graph you see here. Y equals -1/3 x plus 1. Let's go ahead and look at another line. So here I have another line. Again, I'm going to go ahead and find the slope first. We got to remember that it's rise over run. So let's go ahead and let's choose 2 points. I'm going to go ahead and choose this point down here and this point up here. And again, I just chose them based on how they cross the grid lines. I want them to cross at a nice point that'll make it easy to count the spaces of how far apart these points are. So here, if I'm trying to find my rise, I can see that I go up 1, 2, 3 spaces. So here I actually have a rise of 3. Over, it seems to go to the right 1 space, making my slope 3/1, which is simply 3. Now next we want to try to find the intercept, which again I just look for the point where my line crosses the y-axis, which in this case is here. Counting spaces, that would be -1, -2, -3. It crosses the y-axis at -3, which would make my y-intercept -3. Now if we plug this into our formula, we would get y equals, remember m, our slope was just 3x, plus our intercept, which is -3. However, I don't like putting a plus sign next to negative sign, so what we actually write is y equals 3x. Instead of saying plus a -3, that would be the same as subtracting 3. And this would be our equation to the line. So hopefully now you can use the slope-intercept form to write the equation of a line when we're given the graph. Now if you'd like, you can watch this next video of how we can do the same, write the equation in slope-intercept form of a line, but this time all we're given is 2 points. If you want to know how to do that, check out the next video. But as always, just want to say a quick thank you for watching, and I hope you found this helpful.